welcome back. My name is Adrian, and today I've got a whale stained glass project for you. It's actually an orca, so we're going to be going through everything from the glass cutting to the foiling, soldering, and so we're going to go through that whole process right now. This is the 4th week of the July kit, and the first week we did the cat, week 2 was the deer, week 3 was the little otter, and now for the week 4 we've got the whale here. So we are going to go ahead and get started with that. Hey Mary, thanks for joining us. And if this is your first time joining this, we do a new project every week. And this is our last week of the July kit, so you can purchase that July kit if you want to have a video guide and follow along for each of the projects. And we will be starting with the August kit next week. So if you want to follow along with the August kit, you can purchase that. I'll leave a link in the description here. And this is also a part of the Stained Glass Mastery community, free stained glass community with like-minded artists to share projects, ask questions, and interact with other like-minded artists. So if you're interested in that, check that out too. Okay. So this is kind of the overall design. We are going to be using the black and white glass. And you might hear some thunder. We do have a little rainstorm going on right now. Hopefully not going to interfere with our project here, but we'll see. Okay, so the pattern or the kit comes with this vinyl adhesive back pattern with 2 copies. I traced this one on the first week so that we could kind of have an idea what it looks like. And so what I'm going to do is these 3 pieces with the W I marked are going to be white and all the others will be black. And what I am going to also do is mark a direction because the black glass does have a bit of a direction here. And I'm going to want to make sure to kind of follow some sort of, logical placement of the glass. So you just simply peel them, and this glass is a water glass, so you can kind of see that texture there in the reflection. It's kind of going like this. So I'm going to line all of these up with that texture, just like this. And so it's gonna be a fun project today. I think most people like orcas, and you can see that at SeaWorld. And there's a lot of those Save the Whale projects and all that stuff. And it's kind of a bummer when you see them with that, that flipper thing. It's kind of like that. It's not like straight, like they're supposed to be. But such is life. So I'm going to get these on here. You're going to, as you can see, this is our 4th project with this kit, with this glass. And there's quite a bit of glass left. So it's kind of a good value here if you order that kit. It comes with the patterns and the 4 glasses. And it's a little bit of a discount if you just add them to your cart regularly. So that's why I like to, kind of recommend buying the kit. And we try our best to mix up the glasses so you don't get the same ones from kit to kit. You might have the same color, but it'll be a variation in texture, stuff like that. We do what we can to try to bring the best value. Got our flipper thing here. All right. How's everybody doing today? Anyone been to SeaWorld lately? It's the summertime. Where I'm at in Texas, it is blazing hot, to say the least. And, during the summertime, it's normally in the hundreds daily, which it'll wear you down a little bit. But they got the AC, thankfully. All right. So we've got all of our pieces placed here, and we're going to go through with the cutting. I like to use this pencil grip cutter. We're going to switch over to our free camera, get a little bit of a closer view. And what I like to do is actually kind of separate all these pieces. So I'm going to run this cutter. There we go. Hey, Mary Beth, thanks for joining. And you just want to, with a pretty smooth and consistent motion, just separate all these pieces. And I normally cut from me pushing away. And the reason why is because if I do that, I can see the path that my cutter is traveling. So if you're kind of pulling towards you, it's kind of harder to see, you know, the back side of it. At least in my experience, that's kind of the way I've always done it. And so I'm just kind of running all these little score lines through here. And I'll show you on this white glass. I lined up one of the edges of the cut piece with the edge of the with the glass there, so I don't have to cut that side. I'm going to go ahead and cut that one. I'm just going to separate these. Okay. And then we'll take our grosers. Hey, Connie, thank you for joining us. Got these all seized up again. I need to get some oil as recommended last week. You're just lightly, there we go. Lightly breaking this apart. And this is also the last live stream before the end of the month, which means we have our monthly giveaway coming up soon for the people that interacted the most in the community. So if you want to boost your ratings there, now is the time. You do that by posting, commenting on other, you know, people's posts, and, you know, liking comments and stuff like that. So if you want to boost your score, now is the time in the Stained Glass Mastery community. And we give away 3 gift cards to the top 3 for the month. And it's a $25, $20, and $15 gift cards to our store for stained glass supplies. So it'd be good for a beginner or an experienced person looking to stock back up, or, you know, make a few new tool purchases, stuff like that. Okay, so we've got all our pieces separated here, and what I'm going to do is put this aside, table brush off all that debris, and now we're going to score all of the glass here. Again, just a nice smooth motion. And we're not going to start breaking it apart yet until we've got everything scored. So I'm going to just trace right on the edge of that pattern. And we're going to use it as a grinding pattern also here shortly. And I've seen a lot of people, they'll cut out their pattern with scissors, and then they'll kind of glue it down to their glass instead of using these vinyl adhesive back patterns. I'm kind of wondering what most people here in the chat do whenever they are cutting their glass. What do you normally do? I know that in our studio, instead of cutting up all the little pieces, we actually just have a pattern underneath that we see through the glass with a light table. And if you've seen some of our videos that feature our studio projects, you'll see that, you know, they kind of have a big, you know, 4-foot wide piece of paper with all the lines drawn on it. And then from there, they can see through that glass on the light table and just trace that line with the scoring tool. But wondering what a lot of the people here like to do whenever they're cutting their glass. So again, just lining that scoring wheel right on the edge of that template. And you can almost use it as a guide. That's why it's a really good tool for beginners. And this one, it's a pretty sharp, so we have a pretty sharp little curve here. I'm probably just going to grind that down with the 1/4" bit, because you get to trying to cut that, you're going to go crazy trying to cut something like that. There we go. And this is overall not too bad of a pattern in terms of the difficulty. It's got a few curves here and there, but just take your time, and depending on how experienced you are with the cutting, shouldn't be too bad. Homemade mentioned that they like to use a small light pad if they don't have the pattern. Yeah, that's what we like to do too. The only downside with using that light table is that you don't have that template to kind of use a little bit as a guide for the scoring wheel to rub up against. So it's probably a little bit more of an advanced kind of technique, but again, it still does work pretty good. And it is what we pretty much exclusively do, unless, occasionally the glass is too thick, or too dense, I should say. Opalescent is really the term that they use. And you actually can't see through it even with the light. Like this black glass, even with the light table, you're not going to be able to see through it. So you have to use a pattern of some sort. And so in those cases, we do use the vinyl patterns. But most glosses that we use are transparent, so you can see through it. Okay, this was our last piece to score. So now we're going to get through and start grosuring this down just like this. And if we have a few messy spots, we can clean it up on the grinder. And when it gets to be really small like this, I'll grab another pair of grosers and use it as a second hand. Because I want to avoid getting poked or punctured. Hey Ella, thanks for joining. And Mary Beth prints the pattern on the vinyl from a Cricut on the printer and cuts it out. Been a game changer for her. That's good. Yeah, I've been looking at the Cricut machines, or Cricut machines, whatever you call them. And we've got, it's a little bit different. It's a vinyl plotter cutter. And it works, works well. But I have heard a lot about these Cricut machines or Cricut machines. A lot of people have been liking those. And this one, we have this kind of inside radius, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that down a little bit more. There we go. And let's see, we've got Mary Langworthy copies the pattern onto a sticker paper, cuts it out, and then sticks it on the glass, and uses the waffle Waffle grid. Yeah, I have been considering kind of revamping my space here. Getting some waffle grid and maybe changing up this tabletop to something a little bit nicer than this plywood. Still kind of on the fence about all that stuff. Really, it's more about finding the time to get it done. But eventually we're going to get something done here. Actually, I purchased a butcher block a while ago to replace this top here. Just haven't had the time. But I'm looking forward to getting that done. Connie cuts the patterns with a Cricut machine too. Okay, yeah, I'll have to check one of those out. Ella likes the insect Cricut. That must be a brand, right? Insect. I'm not too familiar with all those. And this one's another inside radius, so we're going to do a few more cuts in here too. Oops. So any of these inside radiuses will kind of give you the most trouble. That's why I like to use these mini grosses too. Just gets a little bit less material, makes it a little bit easier for these curves, just like that. Oops, I like to have the flat side on top. There we go. And this little spot we can try to grocer it down a little bit, and then we'll grind it down to clean it up. And Ella mentioned that the only thing doesn't like about the grid is you've got to use the shop glass to suck the glass out. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, no matter what, you're gonna have to do something. So if like right now, I just sweep it all onto the floor. Or now I've been actually grabbing the waste bin and putting that a little bit closer because, it's a little bit less effort to just sweep it right into the right spot in the first place. Oh, it's pronounced cricket like the insect. Gotcha. Yeah, I have heard of that before, the cricket instead of Cricut. But my brain insists on pronouncing it wrong, I guess. There we go. Okay. So again, one of those inside cuts and just taking it down. Just like that. Oh, good. We got away with the bigger grocers, but we could have used the smaller ones. It'd been a little easier. These straight ones, I like to use the bigger grocers. It holds on to a little bit more meat. So that's useful most of the time. It's just a few times, like right there, you kind of need a little bit more of a precise grabbing surface. And Mary Beth ordered a 1/4-inch bit. Good idea. Yeah, they will make it a little bit easier for you on some projects. All right, now right here, well, we might be able to get it. It's not too... I'm going to go ahead and cut that down a little bit more. Ella mentioned that we probably all pronounce it wrong at first. Yeah, it is. It does sound out to Cricut. There we go. Got it. And now I can be one of the people that that correct someone else on it next time I hear them. There we go. And you can see it makes a pretty big mess here. I am wondering, on the waffle grid, probably bigger pieces like this, you know, they probably won't fit in there. So you probably still have to sweep it off. Is that y'all's experience too? Kind of wondering about that now. I've never used it. We sell them and we've got a bunch of them, but oops. So this one broke right there. I'm gonna have to recut that one. So this one I probably should have done a few more. I'll do that on the next round. A few more cuts inside that radius. This one probably might have a similar issue here. And Ella mentioned got the 1/4 inch bit, but hate changing it out. The way I did mine here, I put it on top of the other bit so I can access it at all times, and I just kind of put that sponge on it. Probably I'm going to end up recutting this sponge to sort of be notched out to kind of touch it on the top there and down there in the right spot too. I even considered getting another little grinder for it, but that might be a little bit overkill. I do find it to be a little bit more convenient not to have the two stacked up on top of each other. So I might still end up doing that only because I've got, well, we kind of have, you know, sort of on the camera here, kind of on the clock a little bit here. I don't want to be spending a lot of time changing out bits on camera. So there's that, and also I've got access to pretty much unlimited grinders. So one more wouldn't be the end of the world if I was going to use that. Okay, I'll probably cut this down a little bit more. Just like that. And the mini grows shine right here. And we're just barely taking out that little spot. There we go, we got it. So far only one piece broke in a disadvantageous way. The rest has been working out pretty good. We can clean that up on the grinder. We'll probably pick off this little corner. There we go. And Ella mentioned that they don't fit in there, so when you pick them off, the bits stick out and poke you. Yeah, if you're not careful. Yep. Yeah, that does happen. I tried to avoid that. Kind of used to it though. There we go. So this one, I just kind of chewed it down. And there we go. Got all of our pieces except for one. I'm going to go ahead and sweep all this stuff into the trash can here. And we've got Mary Beth. I've been on the fence. I want to get the Cricut Joy Large or the Explorer 4. And Mary Langworthy recommended the Explorer 4. So I'm not too familiar with any of these devices here. But okay, I gotta find another. There we go. So if you break one, you can kind of just unstick it and then re-stick it. Now this next time I'm going to do a few extra cuts here to try to get closer. And I might even just do the grinder on those pieces on this spot because it's kind of a weak point for that glass. So I'll break this part off first. There we go. And then that spot, I might be able to get a little bit with the cutter here, but for the most part, we're going to want to grinder those down. There we go. Got something in the back poking me here. Speaking of glass, got a lot of little shards in here. Just a tiny little one. There we go. All right, let's see if we can get this. Just gonna do one score here, and the other one we'll take care of on the grinder. We'll take this down with the mini grocers, and then that little bit, yeah, we'll just grinder that. I can pop this off. There we go. And let's see. Ella has mentioned she's got the grinder one from Technoglass. And Mary Beth keeps a dustpan with a brush and sweeps the glass and puts it in a small plastic bin. Gotcha. Well, that's pretty much what I do with the flat table too. Mary Langworthy, the Explorer 4 is bigger, and also mentioned that she's got the grinder one from Technoglass and that she likes it a lot too. So those might be some good recommendations for you. Okay, I'm going to lift this up. There we go. All right, so we've got our grinder here. I've got, this is a Gryphon Gryphette. And in my experience, they all kind of work the same, to be honest with you. So I like to put this little barrier in front of our foiling thing, trying to keep some of that debris off. So now we're just going to grind this down to the white template. So we're just pushing this in. And this is what's going to really help all your pieces fit together really well. There we go, got our first piece. And what I'm going to do is set it into our little cup here, trying to keep all that glass dust from becoming a solid surface. So far, the 1-inch bit has been very good. Go. Or a little bit of rattling from a piece of glass sort of face down. Okay, now this is the piece where we've got this little bit of glass we need to remove. So I'm going to use this 1/4 inch on top. See how well I can get this. There we go, that's pretty good. So we can see right here on the close camera, it really got in there just right. So that worked out pretty good. That's why I like to have that around, you know. Alrighty. That piece done. And you're kind of just checking that sponge to make sure it's still saturated. Probably shoot a little bit more water in there. There we go. So far, so good here. And we're going to see how good this glass fits together. As long as we get it down to that pattern, it should be a really good fit. Now, we're not going to make the mistake of foiling before we checked everything. So we are going to check everything after we finish cleaning it all up, and then we will foil. And we are going to be using the Magnafoiler again today. And it's been working out pretty decently. Give it another test drive today. I think this will be maybe my 4th or 5th time using it. I do like how it works with other glasses. And I do kind of feel like after I used it a little bit, it maybe broke in a little bit. Like the plastic wore down a little bit where the glass goes, so it wasn't as much friction. And that really helped out because before it was a little bit kind of tough to handle the glass in the foiler. And after just a few projects, it seemed to, I don't know, just was a little bit of a smoother operation. But I do still also like the old foiler setup. That was it's a classic. It's a classic setup. A little bit of a kind of a better budget setup. A little bit more effort to get it set up, but honestly used it for many projects and it worked pretty good. And Mary Beth asked if anyone's tried the Technoglass foiler. I personally have not. And to be honest with you, I really haven't heard of the Technoglass brand before. I should probably look into that brand. Seems like people like their stuff. And Ella mentioned that she's using the old foiler setup now and that she loves it. Yeah, it's great, honestly. I liked it a lot. All right, there we go. We've got a few more pieces here to do. Everyone had a good summer so far? I know that we will be doing a trip very soon and going to be taking off. I believe it is the 3rd week of August coming up. So August is one of those months with 5 Sundays. So we'll still get all 4 projects in. But that one, I believe it's the 3rd Sunday in August, we will be, I will not be in town. So I'll be taking that week off for the live stream and continuing on to the next week. And I believe it is the 3rd week of August. Somewhere around there. But we'll get started with the first 2 and then finish off strong with the last few. So that worked out pretty good. I probably would have had to do 2 in 1 week if there was only 4 Sundays in August. So I got kind of lucky with that one. All right, we've got one more piece here. There we go. All right. Get this set aside. Done with that for the moment. So here are all of our pieces. I got them in our little glass bath. And Mary Beth says, nice work, thank you. Ella, it's been hot and rainy in Ohio all summer, I bet. I got a few relatives over there in Ohio, I think in the Columbus area. And Mary Langworthy, enjoy your time off. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Looking forward to it. Okay. So we've got our pieces here. And what we want to do first is clean them all up. And Ella, I hope you don't mind. I shared your foiler set on a Facebook group, and I told people to follow you. It's a beginnings group. Hey, I appreciate that. No problem at all. Yeah, I hope that they join the group and get some value out of it. That's what we're here for. So I'll clean these pieces up and there we go. And looking pretty good. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Down on the river, Ella mentioned, oh, I'm down on the river about 100 miles south of Columbus. Gotcha. I don't know too much about Ohio. I know of, there's a place called Indian Lake that I've been to over there somewhere. And there's a place called Minster. I think it's like a small German town that I've been to. And of course, Columbus. And I believe Dayton. I've been to those few places. I think there's like the Hall of Fame there, right? Something like that. I might be way off. I might be making a fool of myself with that. There we go. And Mary says, it's been hot and dry here in NorCal. I bet. A lot of fires and stuff, right? Okay, get all that taken care of. I know when I went to California, to San Diego, And then we drove up to Las Vegas. So I'm sure I've been through a lot of California, but not really been anywhere specific. Gosh, there was a job that we were trying to get in California. It was sort of in the northern part, and we didn't end up getting it. It was for a church. I know it was next to that big state park. I don't know if it's called Yosemite. I might be, again, getting that completely wrong. I think there was like a big park there. And I was hoping we'd get it and I could go visit that park. It'd be pretty cool. But such is life. Hall of Fame is in Canton, Ohio. That's right. That's right. Yeah, I know we went there. I know we did a trip all the way from, road trip from Texas to Ohio. And we stopped there in Canton to look at all that stuff. Okay, I don't know where this piece went. I wonder if I made a mistake. I'll keep it to the side for now. That one might not have been a real piece. Or it might have broken. We'll see. And B. Hardy says, that right there is a fat dolphin. Not quite, sir. This is a orca, sir. And Mary Beth, I have the grinder that you have, Adrian. I had it for 4 years now. It's a good one. It's hard to kill. It keeps working. I know we like them because they're kind of small and easy to set up on site. And so our guys keep them in the trucks. The other ones are a little bit bigger. This one is just kind of small and light and all that. And they just work. They're simple. And we've got a few in our shop space. We kind of just take whatever's there at the time. I mean, we've got probably 20-year-old grinders back there still. So it seems as long as you use it reasonably, really shouldn't have a problem with them. We had, I know we've had a few grinders fail over the years. I know one of them failed. It was the switch. The switch failed. I wonder if this is somehow connected to this piece right here. Oh, my bad. I see now. This is split up into two pieces. Oh my gosh, that was confusing. Okay, there we go. So that's the correct thing there. All right. Our orca is looking as expected and planned so far. There we go. And I really liked keeping the glass in the little glass bath here. It makes the cleanup of all that glass soot or dust or whatever a lot easier, a lot faster. And I've got the eyeball piece in there. I know it's not the eyeball, or is it the eyeball? That white piece? It's very characteristic. All right. All right, there we go. There we go. Got a little droplet of water in there. So this is looking like it's fitting together pretty well. I might grind down this black piece above this little white spot. Does it need to be? Yeah, probably. Let's see. Yeah, probably just a little, but maybe actually it's this piece that needs to go down. It's a little bit sticking out right here. Give this a quick grind. I'll even dip it in there. Clean all that up. Now let's see how well we are fitting. Much better. Okay, yeah, it was just that little spot. So we'll do a quick fit check here with the free camera. All right, now that is looking like a Orca. So now it is time to move on to the foiling. So we're going to move this thing out of the way. Probably just put all the pieces in a little pile. And then it's going to be time to foil and then burnish. So we'll get our Magnafoiler out here. Okay. And what I like to do, if this has been sitting out, I'll just remove a little bit and cut that down because I don't want it to be all contaminated. You're doing a fair bit of work here. At least from my point of view, you want to give it the best chance of success. So we just open this little thing up with the lever, centers it with a little bit of that friction, and you just pull it through. You got to be careful on these corners, like all corners that you're foiling, that you're not putting too much pressure. Sometimes I'll even just pull a little bit extra through, and then I'll replace it in here. Oops, and we're back at the start-stop point, so we're going to just pull it out a little bit so that we can overlap it, and then we'll snip that down. And that came out pretty good. So we'll just fold that foil over. Onto that face of the glass. And we are pretty much ready to burnish. So we'll set this aside to our burnish pile. And this is a black backed glass. This is all opaque glass, so it doesn't really matter the backing. I'm sorry, black backed foil. But we are going to be using the, well, we're going to find out. I think we're going to want to patina this black. I think it'll make it look a little bit more seamless is my guess. We'll see. But that's my guess so far. There we go. And this one, it gets a little bit thin right here, so we might end up trimming that foil down a little bit. We'll see. I want there to be a little bit of white still exposed. I might even pull a little bit extra through here. When they get to be really thin like this, it can kind of hit the foil on the other side. Fold this down. up a little bit. And we'll fold that back down. So that's pretty close. I think it's okay though. A little bit of white still showing out. I might trim it down just a little bit even still, because I might want a little bit more white showing there for that sort of underside of the orca. And the July kit was all animals: cat, deer, otter, and now the orca. And I actually don't remember what is in the August kit. Oh man, what is it? What is it coming up this month? I don't remember. But we will see in the next week for the first week of August. Got a little bit overlap there, about a 1/4 inch if you can. It's a good amount. And on these inside curves here, you can just kind of slowly apply a little bit of pressure with your finger to try to gradually stretch that foil so it doesn't tear. Haven't had any tears yet. See that? It's a pretty nice, consistent foil. There we go. I think I'm going to switch you around here so you can have a little bit of a better view. Right after I get this piece folded down. Alrighty. See if I can get you a little bit of a better view here. Okay. Just going to use the lever, open that piece up, pull the piece through. If it comes out, you can just open that lever up again. And then it's got a little bit of friction, or a little bit of force here, kind of going towards the center, that centers that on the foil. And then I kind of use my left hand to sort of push the foil up against the edge of the glass. And of pull it through. Then we get to that start-stop point here. I'll just kind of pull it out a little bit, and then I'll snip it. Make sure I've got at least a tiny overlap. Oh, and I actually made a little mistake there. So I'm going to have to just do a little overlap. It's not a big deal. Then I'll just fold this all over. Fold it over up to a corner. And then I'll fold that over there. And like I said, just kind of gradually pushing it down on those inside curves. Push down that piece, and now we just need to do a little bit more right there. So we'll just pull a little bit out, cut it down. And there we go. Ready to burnish. We got a few more pieces here, about 5 or 6 more pieces. Kind of some smaller pieces too. All right, back to the start-stop point, just pull it out a little bit, and then snip off enough to do a nice overlap. There we go, got it that time. Then we're just folding it over. Just like that. Pull it through, pivot. And then we have these inside curves, so I take my index finger underneath, pushing that foil up against the edge of the glass, pulling it through. And then back to the start-stop point. And then I'll just cut this off. There we go. Oops, we got a little tear right there. I think when we burnish it, it'll kind of fill that void. Okay. Let's see here. Try to center that overlap best as you can. And we can trim down any sort of little inconsistency with the X-Acto blade. There we go. We've got 3 more pieces here, and we are ready for burnishing. This piece is pretty small. Now this one we might cut down a little bit of foil too, because I think that we're going to want a little bit more white exposed here for the little spot. We'll go ahead and burnish all those first, and then we'll make those adjustments. And these are pretty much smooth glasses. Little bit of texture in the water gloss, but so that means that it'll be a little bit easier to burnish So we shouldn't have to worry too much about the foil breaking on that texture. If you have something that's got a little bit more of an aggressive texture, like a hammer glass, or one of these other textures, ripple, so it's kind of a difficult one, if you will. It would be a bit of a different story. There we go. Now ready for burnishing here. And we've got our little fiddle stick here. So we'll move this to the side. We're going to put this to the side, not away quite yet. So I like to burnish the edges first, and then the face. And as we burnish them, we will put them onto our pattern. Oops, and it will be in preparation for our soldering. And I like to burnish in towards the center of the piece. If you burnish center out, it will probably knock it off the edge. I would say there's a strong chance we are going to be using the black patina, because I think it's just going to blend everything well, because most of this glass is black, and I think it's going to kind of hide a lot of those soldering seams, and I think it's going to give us the best look. There we go. Edges first, even on these little tiny pieces, and then the face. We're kind of reviewing this for any spots that we want to trim down as we burnish. It's kind of a final inspection. Just want to make sure to really pay attention to all that texture. Where do you go? Right there. Kind of see our orca, and it's about middle stage here. Middle of the process stage. Oops. How does this thing go? Just like that. There we go. And Ella asked if anyone else uses and likes the burnishing tool that has a wheel on it. She likes hers and it works good. You know, I've actually never tried it. Maybe I'll give that a shot. I think I may have tried it once, but it was kind of a long time ago. And as I kind of did a few more projects, kind of have a little bit of a better idea what you're expecting. I might look into that. I am wondering, when you use it, do you normally keep the piece flat on a, well, I guess I'm wondering, do you use a fit at all after that roller tool, or do you kind of use that roller tool right after it's done, you know, with the initial foil application? And because I'm wondering how well it kind of pushes that foil onto the face of the glass. Kind of like I'm doing right now. I could definitely see it being useful right when that foil is first applied instead of trying to fold it over with your hands. But I'm wondering about the face, how well it kind of pushes that foil down on the face like I am right now. And if you use it kind of in your hand, like holding the piece and then, you know, rolling it, or if you kind of have it on the table and you roll it, I'd be wondering how you normally use it like that too. There we go. Got our underbelly here. And let's see, Mary Langworthy has one but hasn't used it yet. Mary Beth used it. It's green and loves it, and also uses a paintbrush to burnish. And Ella said that we're talking about two different foilers and that they're going to send me a picture of the one that you're talking about. Okay, yeah, let me check that out because I'd be curious. I'd be wondering to see kind of how the burnishing. I've really only seen it done this way, so I would be interested to see what other tools are kind of out there to help burnish stuff down. Because I would say the burnishing is kind of a not tedious step, but I can definitely see where it would have some room for improvement compared to what I'm, you know, just kind of pushing it down with a stick. Because I've really never seen a different method. So that would be interesting. Okay, where does this piece go? Oh, right here. There we go. And our orca is coming together here. Okay. Oh, and you meant the burnish, not the. Gotcha. Yeah, I was a little confused there. Started thinking about it. I was like, is she talking about the foiler that? The other foiler? Okay, gotcha. Okay. There we go. How does this thing go? There we are. All right. few more pieces here. This is the one we're going to want to cut down a little bit, I think. Get that edge first. Adrian, where did you get the pattern ideas for these kits? They are cute. To be honest with you, a lot of them I kind of am... so I've got about 50 patterns ready. And a lot of it's kind of looking online, looking around, seeing what's out there, stuff like that. Kind of have to modify them to make sure that it's going to work for our purpose here. So I try to keep each pattern to a range of pieces, and it's, it just kind of depends what colors I've got planned for a kit, and which colors will work for the actual, the actual subject. Like in this case, you kind of can only make an orca with black and white glass, right? I mean, I guess you could make it with other glass, but it's going to be most recognizable this way. So it's kind of dependent on the glass of the kit that I'm planning. It kind of needs 4 similar subjects in terms of appearance, in terms of colors required to make that appearance look recognizable. So that's one of the factors. Of course, online. So I kind of made a big library of like hundreds of subjects, and then kind of pick from those which kind of looks similar enough to do in the same kit. So that's kind of the process I went about with those. And then, of course, for shipping, so there's like a size for an envelope. I think the max size, I think it was 6.5 by 11, maybe? Something like that. There's an envelope that you can ship with a stamp. So whenever these are purchased, just the pattern, instead of sending it in a box, I can send it in a little envelope with just a stamp. So that's a lot less costly for the shipping price. So the size, the actual size required for it also plays a bit of a factor in the actual subject. Okay, now this one has a little bit of a non-smooth transition. We're going to cut that down. There we go. All right. We've got our last piece. This is that spot. And we're going to want to cut this one down probably too. Try to expose a little bit more of that white glass. At least on one side. This one was foiled a little bit unevenly. We'll see which side is the viewing side, and which the opposite. Okay, I think it's like this. Yeah, so we'll cut this down a little bit. There we go. Kind of a minor adjustment, but it really does make a difference to reveal a lot more of that white, I think. And for me, this is a little bit faster than switching out the foils. You can just cut it down, and I'm going to go ahead and turn on the iron. Have not made that mistake. of leaving it on since last time that happened. So we are fortunate with that. Wondering if this is the wrong way. Let's see here. We got some foil kind of sticking up here. No, I think it's this way. All right, there we go. So we're kind of getting this all into the right way that we want it. And we'll do a quick fit test. Fit check, I should say. See how everything's looking. There we go. Okay. We've got our piece together here. And everything looks to be fitting together pretty well. And I think we're going to probably put the little hook, probably about right here-ish, something like that. I think will be good. So that'll be the idea there. I'm going to go ahead and get some gloves on. And then we'll get our flux out. Oh, I need to get the fume extractor on. Put this over on the right spot. Kind of move this right here. There we go. I'll move you a little bit closer. Actually going to drop this down. There we go. Got an up-close view. And Ella mentioned that she uses the same burnishing tool and a little paintbrush also. I wonder if a lot of people do that. It is kind of a good shape. I do like this fill stick because it's got these, while it has that kind of that paintbrush rounded edge here, it also has this corner edge in case you need to get into those deep textures. So that's something I do like about that. Okay, now we'll try to get this thing tacked together without moving it around too much. You can, of course, secure it with nails, which I used to do all the time, but I've kind of leaned towards tacking it like this. The nails, when I do it, it kind of shakes the cameras a lot, and I don't really want to do all that. Okay, that should pretty much do it. Keep this in our little flux thing. Let's see. Grab our little solder here. And let's grab our little, got some wire. Let's see. Oh, here it is. Our little wire brush. I like to just brush off any debris from the past. Get that thing all cleaned up. Grab some solder and we'll just start tacking this thing together. go. I think that should pretty much hold. Get it off of our little template here. Set that aside. And I will really douse this thing with some flux. Keep that real close to that extractor. I'll kind of move you around a little bit. Oops, what am I doing wrong here? There we go. And Ella mentioned that you recently watched the bee and honeycomb videos again. And what did you think about them? That was a pretty fun project with Carlos. You probably remember Carlos if you watched that one. He's been, gosh, I've probably known him for like 20, 25 years. He's been with us for a really long time. Yeah, the more I look at this, I think we're definitely going to want to patina this black. I think it'll make it really, really blend in with the black glass. Look really good that way. And we don't have to do this a perfect finished bead yet. It's probably going to get messed up when we work on the other side a little bit. So that's something to consider. That we're probably going to need to fix this anyway. There's a very good chance that's the case. Oh yeah, and actually, now that I think about it, that honeycomb video, I did use the light table for that one too. Kind of remember that now. It's been a while. It's been probably a few years now since I did that project. And watched them a few times already, but seems like you pick up a new trick or tip or trick every time. Yep, I get it. I have a similar experience when I watch some different things too. I like to check out a lot of the DIY kind of content there. There we go. Getting a lot of that solder down. And making sure to tin the edges as I go. We'll be edge beading here in a moment. We're going to fix up all of the solder on this side first, make sure everything looks really good before we move on. And I am going to go ahead and grab my heat-resistant glove here. Oops. There we go. Yep, and that honeycomb video, I think that was actually the first copper foil I had ever done. It was either that one or it was the there was one with like some little geometric squares. I think it was the honeybee one though. Of course, I had done a lot of leaded glass. It's a different medium. Did that for a long time. There we go. Okay. That's pretty much good for that. So we're going to go ahead and edge bead this now. And I think I might actually get our little wire. Going. Let's see, where did I put that? Here it is. Okay. Oh, all right. So I like to put this to the side for a moment. And kind of twist this a little bit. Now this is not quite looking right. Let's see. I'm not sure why. Sometimes it looks like a really tight braid. Other times it just doesn't quite look right. I'm not sure why it happens. I'm gonna go ahead and snip this off. Try again. There we go. Now that looks good. So I'll snip this off. Might even snip this down right there. And then this is the back side. So we're going to want for this, I think we said right here, right? Now we're probably going to want to, yeah, I think something like that will do. I'm going to want to kind of follow that bend as much as we can. So I'm going to grab onto here like this. There we go. So that will do right there. So I'm just going to try to submerge this into there. Probably put a little bit of flux on here. You can see I kind of bent that. Just heat that up, kind of submerges into that. There we go, just like that. And then we can go back and touch this up with a little bit of extra solder here. Kind of smooth that out much as we can. Kind of fills in all those little rivets much as we can. Oh, if you heat it up too much, it'll sort of come out. I want to avoid that if we can. So I'm going to heat this back up. Just try to get this thing to be really nice and flat. just like that. And then probably I'm going to need to let it kind of cool down a little bit before I start trying to put extra. See how it just melted right through it? It's too hot right now. So I'm going to go ahead and edge beat it, and then we will you know, go back and touch that up. Okay, now whenever I am edge beating, I like to kind of put it up like this so I can easily grab onto it. And Ella mentioned I need to start making some of these projects. You should, yeah. Then again, if you're not familiar, for anyone who might not be familiar, we do have all of these patterns available for free download in the Stained Glass Mastery community. So if you're interested in that, you can check that out. And yeah, my friend Carlos, yeah, he was helping me with that project. He'd been doing a lot of copper foil for a long time, so I kind of trusted him to help me out with that. And always forget about making the twisting the loop. Do it in the U shape. Yeah, I think that it does make it a little bit stronger. I mean, I don't know for sure. But I do think it makes it a little bit stronger. Kind of like those braided, like stainless steel cables. But how strong really do we need them to be either? That's something to consider too. I'll just take a little bit at a time. You just want for it to be a nice rounded over. You can kind of rotate it so that gravity is kind of working with you. Grab this, tilt it up a little bit more. Grab a little more solder here. There we go. And if you have a little stand, I have seen them before, that could be helpful instead of using one of your hands. But if you don't, this works all right too. Done this many times. And yes, definitely consider investing in some heat-resistant gloves because it is a lifesaver. A good pair, the cheaper ones, like you say, kind of get what you pay for with those. And I used to try to do without, but that's just unreasonable when you're trying to edge beat especially. There we go. Just working our way around here. Put a little flux on here. Try to get that to smooth out a little bit better. I think we missed a little spot right here on this little fin thing. I do not know the anatomy of the orcas. This spot looks like it's where the eye should be, but I don't think that is an eye. I don't really know, but I'm pretty sure it's not. Okay, this thing is definitely cooled, so we can kind of try to touch up this rough edge. Just try to fill that up with a nice rounded bead. Blend that in to the adjacent, there we go, the adjacent run. And then we're just going to try to fix any areas that might have gotten a little bit roughed up. And that looks pretty good. We're going to go ahead and switch over to the other side. This is our viewing side. There we go. So right here is where that wire was. And we're kind of getting to the end here. Finishing up with the soldering, and then we're going to be cleaning it up and patining it. And that'll be it for today. Hope you all enjoyed this. I think the orca is a generally loved animal. So I'm glad we got to get that one done in the July kit here. Okay. So let's get this iron out of the way. Off. Iron is off. Telling myself that for later, so I don't forget. I remember that I said iron is off. Sometimes these little things can get stuck in the grain of the wood, the little solder droplets. Okay. So we've got our piece here. Go ahead and take our heat-resistant glove off. And let's see here. Let's see. Okay, found one. Got our little rag here. There we go. Turn off a little piece of it. Right, and Mary mentioned that the white patch is behind the eye. So I guess there's like a little tiny eye in there somewhere. All right, this is a pretty simple thing here. Just apply some of this patina onto the piece, and we can kind of clean it up at the same time. And I like to normally do a few coats just to really darken it up nicely and evenly. And then while that's kind of doing its thing, make sure to hit all the edges. And then I'm going to make sure to hit the backside too. Oops, that's a little bit too much, but it'll be all right. Really saturate this thing heavily. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Really blended in all that black glass. Pretty cool project this week. Hope that everyone enjoyed it. Again, this is the last week of July's project. So next week we will be starting April. So if you want to do those projects along with me, go ahead and check out those kits. And if you have any questions, let me know. You can reach me in that Stained Glass Mastery community, the free community. I'll have that linked in the description. And let's get this all cleaned up. Oops, getting a little bit of rags all twisted up in there. Some rag debris. A little bit of our blue gloss cleaner goes a long way. There we go. All right. Everything came out really good today. So thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. We will see you next week for the week 1 of the August project. And hopefully you enjoyed the week 4 Orca. So thank you all very much. We'll see you next time. Bye.